So it's quite simple to use Twine to create links from one passage to another. And the technical side of this comes down to basically knowing just this command here, or alternatively this one here. And that will allow you to create a link from one passage to another to create text-based games, interactive stories. And it's actually a really versatile, flexible command. So you can use it in lots of different ways. And in this video, I'm just going to quickly take you through 10 possible ways that you can use this to start building some kind of text-based game or interactive story. So, you are in a leafy forest. Spangles of sun gleam in the canopy, birds sing in the shadows. A breeze ruffles your hair. You can go deeper into the forest or follow the path out. You are standing at the top of a rise at the edge of a shadowy forest. The chalky road ahead descends to a small walled town. Chimney smoke rises into the pale blue. So this is a way of using Twine to create locations and linking those locations together in a map that the player can navigate around. We can return to that previous location, go deeper into the forest, and then go back the way that we came. So that's the first way. The second sort of choice is not so much about navigating space as navigating through time. The player is given a choice, and after choosing one of the options, they are confronted with the consequences of that choice. And often they can't go backwards. They've done something, and whatever happens next happens. So this example, a grey-robed figure stands before you. Strange, you didn't notice them approach up the road. And it's a dialogue tree. The player has a choice to say good morning, or oh hello, I didn't see you there, or to ignore them and go somewhere else. So that's the second kind of choice. A lot of Twine games will give players the option to click on something to kind of inspect it, to find out more information about it. So the player has the choice to find out more about the things that interest them, or to just kind of ignore them and move forward quickly. The cloaked stranger smiles softly, so if we click on cloak, we find out a bit more about it. When you are giving the player choices, you're creating new branches in your narrative. And these can quickly multiply. And you may find that you have a really large number of passages to write. So it's important to remember to sometimes converge your branches. In other words, give the player a choice, but make sure that different routes end up leading to the same place. So this is sometimes described as branch and bottleneck. The story branches outwards, and then some of those branches come back together again. Here we have a lot of choices, but in fact, these are actually fake choices. They all lead to the same place, because no matter what the player says, the response will be the same. They sigh with disappointment. Very well, Bonnie Stubbins. But before they can say anything else, and here's another kind of choice that you can give to your player. So far, we've focused on things that the main character does, things that they say. They're moving around, they're making choices, they're saying things. But you can also invite your player to make decisions as the narrator of the story, as the storyteller. The player can decide what happens next. The player can be involved in building the world, deciding what kind of story this is. Before they can say anything else, a giant bird swoops down from the sky and grabs you both. The bird deposits you in her nest. There are some big eggs in here. When they hatch, you suspect you will be breakfast. Drat, says the mysterious figure. Didn't see that coming. The truth is, this is my first gig as a quest giver, and can't believe I screwed up so badly. So here is a kind of similar version of the last type of choice. but maybe it's a little bit different. So in this, you, the player, decide on your character's backstory. You decide not on what you're going to do next, but on what you've done in the past, or things that have happened to you in the past. You've met a lot of mysterious cloaked figures in your time, and this kind of stuff happens all the time. It's no big deal. Another kind of choice to be aware of is a decision that maybe doesn't take you to the very next moment, but takes you further forward in time. This is useful because sometimes you might want to skip to the most interesting bits of the narrative. So here's a choice that covers the next few years. Over the next few years, you and the mysterious stranger become best of friends, lovers, business partners, sworn enemies, comrades in the revolution. Sometimes the best choice might be no choice at all. Just giving the player one thing to click on can keep them engaged and can break up a big wall of text into smaller chunks. You can also use it for kind of pacing and rhythm to indicate a big shift, as it does here, 10 years later. So this one is kind of subtle and tricky, but I think when it's done well, the effect can be really, really good. So this is what I guess I would call implied choices. Some of these words are highlighted, but rather than just getting more information when you click on them, rather than them sort of expanding and telling you more about the thing, each thing you click on will result in some kind of action, will move the narrative forward in some way. You don't know exactly how it will do so, but you can sort of maybe gather it from the context. So Ravenhoof, after 5 years, the mysterious stranger has finally told you their name, wanders into the office carrying a bucket of fried cockatrice wings in one hand. And if we click on that, the character kind of focuses on the wings. Ravenhoof responds and says, "Do you want one?" And the narrative kind of moves off in that particular direction. If you want to find out more techniques, go to itch.io and just play some Twine games, and you'll see all these techniques in use, and you'll find probably many, many more. The best way to learn to write anything is usually to read lots and lots of that sort of thing, and this certainly holds true for Twine games and interactive fiction in general. Okay, thanks, bye.